Good evening and welcome to Face to Face for the Newsfirst team. I'm Nilanka. Art is an important expression of life, of the past, the present, and the future, and of course, of human history and human emotion. An organization that is playing an active role in promoting the arts and in encouraging young artists in Sri Lanka is the Jayantha Premachandra Foundation. And it is with the greatest pleasure that I welcome to our studio this evening Nilanka Premachandra, who is the president of the Jayantha Premachandra Foundation, and Fazlur Rahman, who is a member of the foundation. Good evening and welcome to both of you.
Good evening, Nilesh. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for joining us. Now, Nilanka, let me ask you to say a few words about the foundation itself, how it came about, what it has been doing, and what your plans are.
So basically, Jayantha Premachandra, who happened to be my father, passed away in 1988 while living in Paris, and after more than 30 years, we created the Jayantha Premachandra Foundation in 2022 in order to revive his art as a legacy and life and art, what he has been, and also to preserve our cultural heritage in art. And of course, you know, as a foundation, we want to be part of many cultural and community work and help as much as possible the young artists, but also you know, people in general, because he had been a person who had a lot of human values. So we, you know, the foundation is based on humanity, and of course we want to revive his art and his legacy through humanity, and his works talk a lot about human emotion, thought, struggle, and identity, you know. So that's how the foundation was created, and hoping to go ahead with a lot of activities, helping people, communities, and taking Sri Lankan art towards the international arena, and you know, promote, of course, Sri Lankan heritage as much as possible.
Excellent. And I'm going to be asking you a lot more details about your father's career and his life, indeed. But let me bring in Fazlur. Now, tell us about the foundation itself, the work it does, the members such as yourself who are involved in it, and just generally what's going on with it.
Thank you, Naresh. So the primary objective of the foundation is basically to revive Jayantha Premachandra's art. So I actually got connected to the foundation a couple of years back, where I came across the book, and then I was very interested and fascinated about his work, and especially that being authored by Jagat Ravindra sir. He has done a deep research. So I felt like, you know, the artist needs to be seen through. Then we were working together in quite a few areas. So I thought, you know, okay, fine, let's explore how this works out. And then I understood that, you know, this is all about first reviving an artist's work, and also leading ways to those young artists to become, make a name for themselves, present their art, and stand by what they are passionate about. So Jayantha Premachandra's foundation, in essence, we would like to explore Jayantha Premachandra's work, express his interpretation about the art to the world, and to revive and uplift the artist, young artist who would like to pursue art as a career, to come forward and have a platform for them to also present their work unbiased and also be very neutral about how it is, and they should be spoken. Artists usually they spend a lot of time alone because they have to be observant and they have to transmit ideas. So they're not the people who are normally coming out and speaking in public, but the general public should know about these people because they have a lot of things to share. I mean, maybe towards the end of the talk we'll get to know more about these, because I had the privilege of meeting young artists when we worked with the visual arts faculty, and then they have a story of their own which none of us know, and I got to know. I'm so glad that I come on board. So that being the second objective, and the third most important is also to give back to the community. So Jayantha Premachandra is no more. His art is getting published and highlighted now. He has not worked for credits. He has worked for passion. So likewise, we would like to also give something in return on behalf of him. I'm sure if he's alive, he would do the same. We explore charity avenues. We explore community work.
Certainly led a very interesting life. I know he was born and grew up in Sri Lanka, in Colombo. I believe he's a past student of Carey College. Yes, and but then his life and his work took him all over the world, Europe and the Americas, the Soviet Union, and so on. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So as an artist, I think he started very young, in the 50s. So his first exhibition was held at Kalabhavana in 1958, where actually S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike had come to open the exhibition. So, and after that, he of course continued his career and went to Russia to study. So he finished his studies at Colombo Fine Arts, of course. I think now the Visual Arts, Faculty of Visual Arts, and then he went to Russia to study furthermore. So he had been in the State School of Art in Russia. He has studied there and then came back to Sri Lanka, of course, and then he exhibited in several countries at the beginning, in Iraq, in Finland, and so many exhibitions in Russia as well. And then he came back and worked as a teacher at Wesley College, and he was also the chief designer at Tulhiriya Textile Corporation at that time. Then after the 70s, of course, he started traveling and exhibiting around the world, you know, especially in Scandinavia, Europe. So every year he used to travel, you know, and exhibit in a country, in another country. So he had done almost, more than 40 one-man exhibitions. I've been with him since I was small. Yes, so that's how he exhibited. And then of course he, at the end, in the 80s, he decided to settle down in France in 1984, and where he passed away in 1988 at the age of 53. And of course he was establishing himself in France, and he was preparing an exhibition for UNESCO when he passed away in April 1988, and the exhibition was planned for May 1988, and also another exhibition in the US, for which he couldn't attend. So after that 80s era, of course, there had been a big silence because I myself could not bring back his legacy back to Sri Lanka, and and talk about him and exhibit his works. So only in 2022 we started. After the creation of the foundation, the first exhibition was held, and which was also a charity auction where we wanted to support the neuro ward. So that was our first event as a foundation, and then we of course went ahead with a set of events. Especially we worked with the visual arts faculty, and came up with the book, and we worked with the team, and they were very much interested in looking at who was this artist who has gone missing and why he had gone missing, and they studied his works and came up telling that it was worth people looking at coming and seeing his works, and also because he had been a great a person who had been had an emotional view of everything. He drew from his heart, and that part of course is the main thing that I would like to highlight, because the human angle of an artist is very important, and I saw that as a daughter in him.
Right. Now it strikes me that your father was well known in other countries, in the international arena of art, perhaps more than in Sri Lanka, because when I look at the dozens of exhibitions he has had, my goodness, of course several in Sri Lanka, but Finland, Uzbekistan, Armenia, Russia, and Bulgaria, London, the list is endless. In fact, Baghdad, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and so on. So he was certainly famous internationally, and then of course as you mentioned, he passed away at a young age, so there has been this gap. But Fazlur, can you tell us about how you guys are now bringing his work back to life? And since I think 2022, there have been several events. Would you like to talk about those events that we've seen you all organizing in Colombo?
Yeah. So they started with a retrospective exhibition along with the book being published.
Right. So would you like to show the book to our viewers, perhaps?
So that's the book. I would say it's a crisp journey about his entire art collection, but not everything has been in the book, but he has a brief capsule collection of his life journey being documented in this, and also it has a collation of his personal documents. So even the passport is there, the times that he's spent with the art, and especially when he does, for example, if you see, he has got a special mural done at People's Bank.
Right, which is, I believe, at the People's Bank headquarters.
That's
even
correct,
today.
yes. So we have that image, plus we are also having, you see, that's what he has done.
Right, that's the mural at the People's Bank.
That's correct.
Right.
And we've also included him doing it. There's a photo which was taken while he was doing that mural. So, don't know if you can see it, but this is what it is.
No.
So, we would like to first authenticate his work. So that's the reason we've decided to go for a book, to put all these documents in one place, so anyone sees a copy of it will get to see what Jayantha Premachandra has been right throughout. And then the events, as you said, retrospective exhibition, and we've done number of places. So we have done one with the visual arts faculty. The other one was we did one at La Maison de Colombo as well.
Yes, and
right, and then we've done what Alliance Francaise.
Few discussions as well.
Few discussions.
With Professor Osman Bopiarachi, I think you had the chance of
absolutely. We had Professor Bopiarachi on this show. I think it was about a year and a half ago.
Yes, very valuable person also.
And he's a great fan of his art as well. So we did that, and then the latest one is we are doing it at ITC. We're planning to do at ITC. So we've got series of events coming up.
That's ITC Ratnadeepa.
That's correct, yes. So now we are promoting it through a series of event. Plus, we are also speaking about it more. We are more vocal about his work. For example, like you've invited us for the show today, we are giving more insight into his work, and we are speaking to a lot of people and explaining about his art and the work that he has done. So we are putting this to many channels as possible for it to get its fair share of reach.
Right. And Nilanka, would you like to tell our viewers something about the latest exhibition which are having, which is on quite a grand scale at ITC Ratnadeepa?
Yes, of course. So we are planning to have this, I would call it as maybe retrospective exhibition, or it's a journey of visual narratives about his life and his art. Which will be held at ITC Ratnadeepa from the 23rd of April till the 25th, where everybody is welcome to visit. And we will be having also a series of discussions and art workshops as well. If Fazlur could explain exactly about the workshops. And
so we wanted to have the exhibition. In this exhibition, the speciality is we've put out some paintings which has never seen before. We've specially framed them, and we are putting it for the first time for public's view. And then we wanted to also club this along with some of the talk shows and workshops. Now, there are people who are interested in art, but they have not tried it. There are people who love art, but they don't know how to look at art in different perspectives. And there are people who have been collecting art, but they would like to understand how to preserve it better. So we are trying to address all of this in the best possible way through some of the workshops and talk shows. So we are getting artists who have got skills in framing art. So we've been working with them for some time. So to give you a small idea that, we looked at one of those arts while he was framing, and we didn't have an idea in terms of what should go with it. Choosing a color, choosing a frame, and giving depth elevates the entire look and feel of the art. So and also they help us understand how to preserve it without there can be damages if it's not a living artist, especially it's quite valuable. So making sure it's restored properly, making sure it's preserved properly. So there's a specialist coming in to talk about that. And then we have young artist, especially she has I need to mention that she's also coming from visual arts faculty. She's right now studying in Shantiniketra Vishwabharati University, which is in India. So she had worked predominantly on this book, collecting the research material for Jayantha Premachandra's work. So she's coming out and she's also sharing her experience as well as what it's like to be a young artist, something like that. And then we've also got visual arts faculty's painting department coming on board, explaining about art and art techniques or maybe principles of art. So if someone wanted to try painting for the first time, or maybe they've been trying it for some time, they'll be able to get more insight in terms of how to choose colors, and how do they take the strokes into account, and how do they look at a portrait, landscape, things like that. So it will be a mix of sessions with various different types of talks and workshops. So we wanted it to be as interactive as possible without just like a traditional presentation. So we've clubbed it with about 5 to 6 events along with the exhibition.
Right. And would you like to mention the names of those who are doing the workshops? Because there are some quite prominent people.
Yes. So we have starting with the Jagat Ravindra sir and Shanaka, right? Shanaka is coming. So Shanaka and Jagat Ravindra will be doing the first one. So that will be more of a conversation, and Jagat Ravindra will walk us through in terms of what inspired him to get into Jayantha Premachandra's work as well as...
And he will be also curating the exhibition.
Correct. He's the curator of this exhibition. So that's the first one. And the second one would be with Shanila Alice, and there's another specialist coming on board where they do, it's called Art of Framing, the title for that the workshop or presentation we can say. So they'll explain about how to choose the frame, how to preserve an art, and what should be taken into account when we are looking at an art and taking care of an art. And as a result, they'll give us an insight about the art, the thing from their perspective.
Right. So that would be Shanila Alice and Nalini Tangavelu.
That's correct. Yes. And the third one is we have Ishani.
Yes.
Ishani Senadira is coming on board. She's the young artist I've been speaking about.
Right.
So she'll be giving her version of how it. Yeah, there we go. It's easier. So she'll be giving us insight in terms of how her work has been with the book, research material, and her passion about art, and also what it's like to be young artist. So that's something for the younger generation, because as I said, not everyone would like to pursue art as a career, but hearing it from a person who's young or maybe in a different age profile, I would say it would be appealing to different segment of people already.
Excellent.
Altogether.
And also it's giving justice to the young generation and the young artists as well. They deserve, they are very talented.
Absolutely.
That's what we figured out while working for the book with the visual arts. So, they need to be happy to be part of this, and also to be happy to be artists.
Correct.
I would say.
Absolutely. So it's also in line with the Jayantha Premachandra Foundation's principles, where we create platform and showcase people's talent. So this Ishani Senadira will be more focused towards the aspects that I've told. And then we have from painting department, we have the senior lecturers and the specialist who can explain about art and art techniques and principles of painting. So we have Ishan Gunatilaka with us, we have Kashun Darshana with us, and then Kavindu Sadarshana. So they'll be focused, it'll be more towards a workshop session where it'll be not just showing the technique, but they'll also allow you to try it out. So that's there. And then we have Bina, Dr. Bina Gandhi Deroy. So she's coming on board about her topic would be beyond borders.
So she's coming from India.
From India, that's correct.
For this exhibition.
Yes. So she's actually coming on board beyond borders, to be very precise, because she's in India right now, and she's specially coming to talk about Jayantha Premachandra's work, and what inspired her to look into this artist. And then we have Shivan Daniel, who's going to speak of who owns art. That's the title, and then he's going to look. It'll be a more independent look into the art and obviously Jayantha Premachandra's work as well. So we've got mix of people coming in different academic verticals, from social verticals, and we've got a mix of people who could really represent themselves as well as what they think and feel about art.
Yeah, I would say it would be a continuation of a living artist's voice, to give it a name, maybe. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I believe the exhibition is open free to the public.
Yes, of course. Exhibition is open free.
Yeah.
But the art workshops and the discussions will be on registration. Of course, there will be a limited. We'll have to limit because of the space. We'll have to limit the numbers.
Right.
So it will be open for registration soon. Very soon.
Right. And the exhibition itself will be from what time to what time each day?
So the exhibition, it will be open to the public from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Katanaka Lounge, ITC Ratnadeepa.
So Nilanka, I understand that you have a lot of support this time in the form of sponsors and partners, and of course you have your foundation members as well. Would you like to mention some of these partners?
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank ITC Ratnadeepa to having invited us to exhibit. Yeah, the whole management and the team, and also I would like to appreciate Maharaja Media Network. Thank you, Shivan, And thank you, Niresh, for all the support you've given us right throughout.
It's our pleasure to do so.
And also I need to mention Vijay Newspapers, especially Irushi Bulat Sinhala, who has also supported us right throughout. And People's Bank, thank you for your support also. And we have a masterpiece of my father's art with you as well. And I would like to thank also the Visual Arts, Faculty of Visual Arts, putting a lot of efforts to be with us right throughout and work with us, who, you know, they've worked for the book. And so I'm happy to be partnering with them right throughout as well. And yeah, and my members, of course, I can't forget all my Jayantha Premachandra Foundation members. So from the year 2022, we've come a long way, and we've done quite a lot of interesting and good work where we've been able to help people and, you know, revive Jayantha Premachandra's work. But also I would say, and I want to thank all the people who have been with me, you know, wholeheartedly. And I always believe that, you know, the wholeheartedness is what will lead us right throughout.
Right. We need to take a short commercial break now. I am with Nilanka Premachandra and Fazlur Rahman from the Jayantha Premachandra Foundation. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
තාම උණුසුම් විවාදයක ලක්ෂණ තමයි මේ පෙන්නුම් කරන්නේ.
ලංකාවේ වේබර එන්නම අධික වෙලා තියෙනවා. ලංකාවට දිට්ට සුලිකුණාටු ආව වෙලේ මුලින්ම ක්‍රියා කළේ රාජ්‍ය සේවකයා.
පළවෙනි කාරණාව තමයි මේ අනවශ්‍ය සේවකයා අයින් කර ගන්න. තමන්ගේ සහෝදර සේවකයෙක්ගේ 1000ක පඩියක් වැඩි කරගන්න මිනිස්සු පාරට බහින රටක කොහොමවත් ප්‍රායෝගික වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Sirasa Debater with AAT Sri Lanka.
ඉරිදා සවස් 6ට.
මගේ වයිස් එකම කොහොමද දෙන්නේ?
එහෙම බැලුවා මට තුන ඔක්කොම කලින් කෝච් යසස්ව කන්ට්‍රෝල් එකට ගත්තා නම් හොඳයි කියලා.
රිටර්න් එක එකට දෙක බැගි.
සිටිජේගේ බර්ත්ඩේ ගිෆ්ට් එක දෙන්න යන්න.
විශා
Voice Team Season 3 සතියක රාත්‍රී 8:30ට.
තවත් දුෂ්කර පාසල් 3ක පානීය ජල අවශ්‍යතා සපුරාලීමට කම්මැද්ද සූදානම්. අම්පාර පානම දීඝමණ්ඩල ප්‍රාථමික විද්‍යාලය, නුවරඑළිය කඳපොළ අල්මාග්‍රේ මවුන්ට් විද්‍යාලය සහ පොළොන්නරුව මැදිරිගිරිය දිග්ගල්පුර ප්‍රාථමික විද්‍යාලයේ ජල ව්‍යාපෘතිවල ඉදිකිරීම් අවසන් අදියරේ. අපි දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය වෙනුවෙන් කැපවන්නෙමු. කම්මැද්ද රට නඟන ජනපෞර.
In a world searching for peace, a sacred journey unfolds. Across thousands of miles, a path walked not in haste, but in harmony. Guided by the timeless teachings of the Buddha, a group of noble monks carry a single message across continents: loving kindness to all beings. From the distant lands of America to the island of peace, Sri Lanka. Walk for peace, walk for life. Led by the venerable Panyakara Thero, this is more than a journey.
Hi, I'm Venerable Panyakara. We are coming to Sri Lanka for the Buddha relics and the Sakling of Bodhi tree.
It is a living expression of compassion, a radiant movement of peace, a moment that will touch your heart. Stay connected with the Sirasa Media Network as we bring you closer to this extraordinary walk for peace in our own island of peace, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back to Face to Face. I am with Nilanka Premachandra and Fazlur Rahman of the Jayantha Premachandra Foundation. Fazlur, let me ask you about the importance of art in today's world. We live in this digital hodgepodge, which is developing so fast. We never know what tomorrow's internet and the social media and the entire digital sphere is going to look like. And at times, we sort of lose ourselves, lose our way. The world is not as it was a few years ago. In this scenario, how important is art?
I'm glad you asked that question. Now, I would say we are privileged. You know why I say that? Because we have seen the transition from the most manual methods of doing things to the most advanced digital technologies now being used. The present generation, especially the youngsters, have not been exposed to such practices from the past. What benefit we had from the past is that we were more connected to nature. We were more self-sufficient and creative. Now we have so much assistance and we have got support from technology, so we limit ourselves. That also restricts our creativity. That's one thing that I've noticed from my personal experience. And also we are engaged with technology all the time. Obviously it has become a practice like everywhere that we have our phones and we are engrossed with it and we keep scrolling, and it takes our time without us realizing. People say that time passes really fast, but the time has its own pace. It's just that we got really busy. So that also comes at a cost, where we don't really put our thoughts, we don't put focus into things, and our attention span has gone down. You put a lot of patience into your work. It's not something that you can draw immediately and then put it out. You need to put a lot of attention, focus, and patience. That'll calm you down. That'll disconnect you from the digital world. That small break will revive you. It'll help you to improve your cognitive skills. It'll help you to improve your patience levels, which is very important. So art indirectly connects you to nature, which is what we are designed for. So once you are back and connected to nature, you become more creative, you think better, you feel better, you de-stress yourself, you can handle things better. Then you can actually solve problems. You become self-sufficient, right? So what art does is basically it detoxifies you. A digital detox, I would say.
That's an interesting way of putting it, because in fact the digital world is just full of noise and chaos. There is so much information coming at you, and not just information, but misinformation, propaganda, disinformation, all of it, so much noise. It's very difficult to filter. But when you go to an art gallery or an art exhibition, you automatically slow down, don't you? Because you can't run through an art gallery, like you do
Exactly.
scrolling on your phone.
Yeah.
You will stop at each piece of work and you'll examine it. You'll go through it and see in depth what, the effort that the artist has taken. And the last time I went to an art gallery, I think I spent a couple of hours there. Simply admiring the art. And I'm not an artist, but I think this is something that everyone should do to sort of get into this detox, as you said.
Absolutely. And art is also therapeutic. I'm not too sure how many people have practiced this. Now, we've come across this mandala art, the colorings and stuff like that. It calms you down. It helps you to de-stress, and also it kind of, puts you together. For example, you see a small child, if you just observe the child, naturally the child, if you give a color crayon or a pencil, it starts sketching. So we are wired into it. So it kind of, it is inbuilt. So all we have to do is we just need to practice it.
Exactly. And now let me ask Nilanka, you mentioned this 30-year gap after the passing away of your father, and then you obviously had your own life and family and so on, which you were engrossed in. But then after 30 years, you came back to your father's art. What's it been like, that journey? Because as a child, you would have seen your father, in all this work, painting and so on. And then after this 30-year gap, you come back to it, you're reliving it. What's it like?
Well, I look at it as something that I had to do. I had to give justice to his art and his thoughts, because he saw very much. He drew with the heart, and he drew emotions, struggles, thoughts. The human mind, the confusions, everything is, I think...
He must have been a very interesting person.
Yeah, I think everything is, in his paintings. So I think if I had not come back with his paintings, and if I had not shown all these paintings to the public, I think I wouldn't have given justice, to a person who has been a very real human, from a human angle of it, you see. So that's how I gathered and continued with the foundation, and still want to continue about the whole concept.
It strikes me that as much as his paintings are brilliant, his life story is inspirational, wouldn't you say, to young artists today?
Of course, because starting from his age of 18 years, he's struggled to show his creations as an artist, because he was a professional artist. He didn't do anything else than being an artist. So his life was with a lot of ups and downs. Of course, I had to say that my mother was also there to support. I can't forget her presence, because she was there, and so we traveled a lot all together, and we did the exhibitions together. I was small, but he had a journey till he was 53. He was quite young, and I remember that his journey is very inspiring for artists not to give up as an artist. Sometimes the artist may have difficulties in going ahead as an artist, but I think it's worth living the dream and showing what you feel. At the end of the day, the imagination, the creativity will always last, and also keep true to yourself, and to the people you show your art to.
Absolutely. Fazlur, would you like to add something about the journey of a young artist? Because you don't you don't have your art selling for millions immediately. It is a very tough sort of journey when you start, and you don't necessarily see the end of it. It's not like working in a bank or a hotel where okay, after 10 years I'm going to be a manager, I'll be a senior manager after 15 years, I'll do these exams and get promoted and so on. It's not like that. It's very open-ended, isn't it, and uncertain.
You're absolutely true. So this is why not many people have pursued art as a career, because they don't know exactly where they go with art. But what I've seen from my experience, and also with the practical understanding of how artists become a topmost or celebrated artist, you should be able to have the courage to present yourself. You should come out, speak up, present your art with wholehearted. How you have drawn it, how you have interpreted it, you should be able to show it to people. we should not shy away from things. Now, artists typically, I said, they spend a lot of time alone by themselves. That's because they have to observe and grasp things in order to put that into a canvas. They have a long way to go. That's number one. Sri Lanka is known for its cultural heritage. Now, when you see Jayantha Premachandra's art, he has not done it because it will gain a commercial value. He has done it with passion. He has taken the art from place to place. He has done the exhibition by himself. I'm sure when you're doing an exhibition by yourself, how much you have to look at and how much things you have to look after. And also traveling is also expensive, and he must have spent quite a lot of money on moving from places to places. But at the end, you got it. It caught people's attention. So you must pursue and push and try to present your art, and should have the courage to come out, speak to the world, show what you can do. People will notice. And there are people like us. It's not just us who support art. I must be very open about this topic. It's not just who support art. Anyone who support genuine art, unbiased, I'm with them. We are with them. Purely because the artist should have the platform. The artist should be able to come out and speak. And when the artist speaks, I'm telling you, you will see so much, and we'll get to know so much about their world. So art has long way, and I'm sure you can pick up, you can excel it as long as you present it well.
Right. And you have also mixed a little bit of community service, of CSR, into the foundation. I believe the proceeds from the sale of some of your father's art was used for a very good project.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah, so our first project was when we wanted to auction a painting and refurbish a ward at the General Hospital, a neuro ward, because I wanted to start with that because he passed away with a stroke. And the neuro ward was because, my mother was also suffering a stroke at that time. So I just really wanted to help the hospital. So that's how, I found a way to help the hospital by auctioning a painting and doing some work inside the hospital. So just to say that it's our foundation is not only based on artists, of course it's on art, but it's also about community work. It's about helping people, and it's all about people, because he has loved to be with the people. He spoke about emotions, thoughts, struggle, and it was always in his art. There was some kind of feeling behind. So that's why I think that we also want to stick to that legacy of his, where Sri Lanka is also involved. He was very much telling about how we should take Sri Lanka as a cultural destination to the world, because our culture, safeguarding our culture, was very important for him. He was always talking about him as a Sri Lankan artist.
Right. I believe also that in the second exhibition you had, I think it was 2024, you had Dr. Alan Lightman, a very special friend of your father's, and he was a special guest. Would you like to talk about that?
So I'm very happy actually you asked the question, because Alan is also a wonderful human being. And he was a person that I met when I was 10 years old with my parents in Denmark. And then he planned an exhibition for my father in Boston for 1988 May. Again, for which he couldn't go because he passed away 1 month before. So our 2024 retrospective exhibition and the book launch was meant to bring Alan down to Sri Lanka as a chief guest, and actually he has given the foreword to the book as well. Dr. Alan Lightman, who is a famous physicist, American physicist, And so he was here to open the exhibition and to launch the book. And that was a very special event for us because Alan was to organize the exhibition in the US for my father, and then he couldn't make it. And after 35 years, we brought him to Sri Lanka. So that was also a special event of ours. And
I'm afraid we are out of time. My thanks to Nilanka Premachandra and Fazlur Rahman for joining me this evening and telling our viewers all about Jayantha Premachandra and the foundation, and of course the exhibition which is coming up later this month at the ITC Ratnadeepa. And thank you to you at home for watching. Don't go away because the news is coming up next. Have a great evening.